also information about how to apply for a university like King's. Once the presentation is done, I'm going to have about half an hour with you for Q&A. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please do hold on till the end of the presentation, and hopefully I can answer them all.
Hi, Paulina. First of all, you don't have to say anything about London. We know London very well. And we know I know the school area. Maybe my wife doesn't know it. I know the school area as well. So we can go on with the school details.
That's fine. Well, I've got a little bit information about how King's is tied into London and how we sort of enter that within the city. So there's a little bit information about that for some people that might have maybe not been to London before or not been to King's before as well. So a little bit information about that. Yeah. But I'm going to start from general information about King's. We are quite a large university. We have a community of just under 34,000 students. And we are very international, just like London, we are very international. Almost half of our students come from outside of UK. We're also very diverse. So at the moment, we have students from over 185 different countries. And this is really amazing because your children or yourself, if you're a future students, will be able to mix with people from different religions, different backgrounds, different countries, different upbringings, having very different opinions and very different point of view to yourself. So when you come to King's and you attend lectures and seminars and tutorials, you're not only learning from your teachers, but you're also learning from each other. And of course, it's amazing to be able to meet the whole world in one city. But if someone gets a little bit homesick, we've got a little bit home away from home for you as well. We've got 187 students from Turkey. We have a Turkish society as well. So you will be able to mix with people from around the world, but you will also be able to have a little bit of home in London too. Throughout the years, we have some very famous alumni, which hopefully some of you will join the lines with. And our alumni include Nobel Prize winners. So for example, a physician, Dr. Peter Higgs, who got a Nobel Prize in the physics department, or for example, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who got a Peace Nobel Prize. We have Olympic medalists, and this is just the testimony to how much King's is supporting students with extracurriculum activity. So for example, one of our athletes, Dina Asher-Smith, and of course, loads of scientists, for example, Professor Rosalind Franklin, who is responsible, one of the scientists who discovered DNA. Now, a few reasons why you might want to join King's. Firstly, we are a university with history and legacy. We are the fourth oldest university in UK after Oxford, Cambridge, and UCL. And of course, we had a lot of very noble alumni. Some of the examples I've just given you a minute ago. And we also one of the university that leads in research. Throughout the years, there's been a lot of groundbreaking discoveries at King's, such as the discovery of DNA, or research that led to the development of mobile phones and radio and radars. But even today, the sort of research that we have at King's is the research that will shape and change our world of tomorrow. Another reason, we are very diverse and international. And if you look at the statistic, we're actually 11th most international university in the world, according to the 2020 research. And of course, our location. London is an amazing city, so our location is a big attraction to our students. And we currently have 5 campuses around London. So for the gentleman who knows London very well, I'm sure you will recognize some of the landmarks, but I'm sure all of you will recognize at least a couple of them. And that's where our campuses are in relation to those landmarks. So starting at number 1, this is our Strand campus, and that's where our law school is based. That's where social sciences and politics are based, Faculty of Engineering, and Arts and Humanities. Now, at number 2, this is our business school. It's just across the road from Strand campus. We've only been there for a couple of years, and it's an amazing building. It used to be a BBC World News building, so that's where Winston Churchill did his speeches during the Second World War. and now it's where our business students get to work. Now, if you take a walk across the bridge and you walk for about 10 minutes, you will get to number 10. This is our Waterloo campus, which is right behind London Eye. And this is for students who study computer science, chemistry, or for example, nursing. Now, if you turn right and you walk for another 10 minutes, you will get to number 13 and 15. And this is St. Thomas campus and St. Thomas Hospital. This is one of our medical campuses. It's mainly for postgraduate medical students. But what's amazing about this campus is right across the water from probably the best well-known landmark, which is Big Ben Houses of Parliament. Now, if you turn around and you walk south for about half an hour, you will get to number 16 and 18. And this is Guy's Hospital, very famous teaching hospital in London, part of Guy's campus. And this is our main medical campus. So for students wanting to do biomedical sciences, medicine, dentistry, sports and exercise medical science, anything that's medically related, this is where they're likely to be based. We have one more campus, which is the Institute of Psychology, Psychiatry, and Neuroscience. This campus is based about half an hour by train from central London. And later on, when I talk about accommodation, I will show you on the map where this campus is based comparing to other campuses. Now, why London and the sort of unique benefits that London offers to the students? For example, prominent visitors. You can see Queen Elizabeth II visiting our business school a couple of years ago. We had a number of other royals and ex-royals visiting our campuses. We have a number of politicians. For example, Hillary Clinton had visited King's early on this year to talk about women in the workplace. But I think most importantly for all of the students, a number of industry leaders and industry specialists are either based in London or they come to visit London on a regular basis. And they come to our campuses and give guest lectures and attend our events. Because we're in London, we also partnered with a number of renowned institutions. Some of you might recognize the one on the picture. This is, of course, British Museum. And we partnered with British Museum. So some of our history students get to work with the artifacts that are based there. Other examples could be, for example, European Space Agency and Royal Air Force, where our sports and exercise medical students work to help develop conditioning programs for pilots and astronauts. We work with Shakespeare Globe. We work with Tate Modern. So lots and lots of institutions that are around us and around our campuses that students on a number of different degrees have an opportunity to attend. We also linked to a number of institutes and professional bodies. The one on the picture, this is the Royal Courts of Justice, based about 10 minutes walk from our law school. So I think I can safely say that when it comes to prestige, we're probably the most prestigious law school in the country. But we also connected to institutes such as British Heart Foundation or, for example, the Royal Academy of Engineering. And of course, and that's more for the students than the parents, London is a fantastic student city. London is so much fun. And whether you already have a passion or a hobby that you would like to develop and continue with, or maybe there is something completely new that you would like to try, this is your time and this is your opportunity. London has so many different things that is on offer that you will never be bored, and you will definitely have a fantastic student life in the city. To support that, we have also a student union. A student union is run by students and for students and over 300 different societies. And that gives students opportunity to get involved with stuff that really means something to them. And that could be playing an instrument, that could be playing sports, that could be, for example, photography or Harry Potter. It could be a cause. So, for example, Amnesty International or Ecology Society. It could be connected to their future career, like investment banking or debating society. There's just so much different activities that students can get involved in. So it's really easy for them to come to London, find others that share their passion and make the most of being in the city together. So moving on to studying at King's. We are a generalist university, which means we offer degrees in 5 main areas of studies. And these are STEM, health, politics and social sciences, law, management and business, and arts and humanities. Now, each one of those areas will offer you a number of different degrees. And of course, each of those degrees could lead to a number of different careers. And now on the screen, I will show you examples of the sort of careers that our alumni are enjoying now. They have graduated from King's. And of course, some of them will be very obvious. So for example, if you study law, of course, you can be a solicitor. If you go into health and medicine, you can become a doctor. But there are some really interesting ones that students can also look into, for example, capital modeling or the threat discovery researcher. So really with a lot of our degrees, the world is your oyster, and there is loads and loads to explore in terms of careers, which I will touch on a little bit later. Because we're a generalist university, a lot of our teaching is interdisciplinary. And what that means, we either combine different areas of study in one degree, or we spread degrees across different areas. Now, how that could look like, for example, we can offer major and minors, such as mathematics with management, where students get to study 2/3 of modules from the main area, and then 1/3 of modules from the second area. Some degrees offer more of a half and a half split, for example, neuroscience and psychology. With some degrees, you can choose a number of different pathways, so students can specialize in different pathways across the degree. So geography, for example, offers 5 different pathways across urban, human, and physical geography. A lot of our degrees will be very unique to King's, but also very multidisciplinary by nature. So war degrees, for example, war studies, for example, is a combination of politics, social sciences, history, and philosophy. But I think most importantly, and that's going to apply to all of our degrees, you will experience the cross-disciplinary teaching through the module selection. So for example, with medicine, we want our students to be doctors, but we want them to know about ethics, or for example, about medical law. And our economic students, for example, can choose from modules such as the politics of crime, or the politics, the health politics, and the politics of inequality. And I will urge you on that note as well. I will urge you to have a look at module selection on the degree of your choice, or the degree that you are considering, because that's where you're really going to see the sort of multidisciplinarity that applies to the very degree that you are thinking of studying. So I've already touched on research and how amazing King's is for research, but that will really affect students as well, because the very researchers that go out to the world, that pioneer, that find new things, are the very same researchers that will teach yourself or your children. Students, from the moment they join King's, can get involved in research. If they support a PhD student or a professor, and the research gets published, they get their name on the paper, which is something fantastic to include in a CV. But I think more importantly, they get to practice for when they have to conduct the research as part of their own degree in their final year. So some of the examples of the research that we have going on at the moment, and of course, something that's on everybody's mind at the moment is pandemic and COVID-19. And I just wanted to show you the sort of spread of research that we have on pandemic across different faculties. So of course, medical faculty is the obvious one, and King's Biomedical Engineering School paired up with Oxford University and create OxEvent, which is an alternative to COVID-19 ventilators, and it's been designed to fulfill the shortages that we've been experiencing in UK to treat the COVID-19 patients. But then, for example, our international relations department is looking into populism and pandemic, and they're looking why the populistic leaders such as Trump or Bolsonaro struggled with containing the pandemic in their own countries. Our School of Education and Communication is looking, so that's our School of Digital Community is looking into how the COVID-19 is changing our digital behavior and how the pandemic could have a long-term effect on our social and professional digital interactions. And as our School of Education and Education and Communication is looking into pandemic and language, and they're looking at the new words and new slang that have been introduced permanently into our language because of pandemic. One reason why students want to come to King's, because we offer state-of-art facilities. And I've picked a few examples that I think are really interesting, but there's of course loads more. So starting from the fact that across our medical campuses, we've got state-of-art laboratories, and London Metropolitan Police crime labs are based at King's. So some of our professors are the real-life CSI, and they work on improving forensic methods and solving criminal cases. We also have the anti-doping laboratories that analyze both domestic and international athletes. For our physics students, we've got rooftop observatory and telescope. For students that want to go into economics, business, we've got Bloomberg terminals and virtual trading floor. For students who want to study medicine and medically related degrees, we've got dissecting rooms and virtual dissection tables. Now that's going to sound a little bit gruesome, but one of the, I believe, only 4 universities in UK that use real human bodies from body donors in our dissecting room. I know it sounds a bit strange, but if someone wants to be a doctor, this is really an invaluable way to learn. For our psychology and neuroscience students, we offer advanced brain scan facilities. And the black and green picture you can see on the bottom of the screen is a picture of a brain cell that is taken by one of our scans. Apart from being in the classroom, we like to use the world around us to learn. So for example, geography students get to go on a field trips to places like Morocco and USA. Our business students can join our consultancy, and by doing that, they get paired up with small and medium enterprises around campuses, and they work with the entrepreneurs on everyday issues they might face, be that HR, finance, social media, so they really get an experience of what's it like to run a business on a day-to-day basis. For law students, we have started legal clinic in association with PwC, where our students get to work under the supervision of trained lawyers. For our law students, we also offer mooting, which is mock trial proceedings. Psychology students get a chance to join a number of placements in secure hospital wards and secure prison wards. We also have health partners around the campus, around London, and that's where our medically related degrees that aren't medicine, but are medically related degrees get a chance to get involved in research and gain work experience. And King's have a state-of-art air quality monitoring facilities for students who are interested in those subjects. And we're actually an official air quality forecaster for the Mayor of London. So what sort of opportunities when it comes to future career are on offer in London? Firstly, London is a very unique city. So if you think of USA, you've got Silicon Valley with technology, you've got New York with finance, and then you've got, for example, Washington, D.C. with politics. In London, all of those industries are in one place, which means London will offer you opportunities that are very unique and not really available in many places in the world. We also offer a scheme that will help you develop or increase or improve your social skills and your soft skills. So that could be communication, teamwork, for example, or leadership. Now we've got a careers team, careers and employability team, with a number of internships, global internships and work placements on offer for our students. And we've got endless fairs and networking nights throughout the year. And when I say endless, just last month we had over 60 career fairs. Of course, at the moment they're happening online, but normally we've got the representatives from the organizations around us that come to our campuses and talk to our students. And this is a fantastic chance for you to get to know the organization that you want to work for, to find out what they're looking for from the future employees, to find out what they're looking for during interviews, and of course start networking with the representatives and with those organizations and start building those connections. We have a careers hub as well, which will support students online. So no matter where they are geographically, they have an access to career guidance. And we have an entrepreneurship institute. So if our students have a business idea, these guys can help you turn your business idea into actual business. Now, this is just some examples of where our students found placements. So we have Theo, who is doing her placement here at the Walt Disney Company. We've got Nicole, who spent some time at Google. We've got Claire, who's been at Roche. And the girl, the dark hair girl on the right bottom corner, she's actually Turkish, Gökçe. You can find her, I will tell you on DM how you can get in touch with her. She's studying international management, and I believe she just secured her second placement with one of the top consultancies. I believe it's Deloitte. And she can tell you all about what's it like to be at King's for Turkish students, and what's it like to have an experience of working or doing a placement or an internship in a large international organization. And if you would like to find some more examples, or if you would like to see what other placements our students enjoyed, please do have a look at the blogs, King's Career blogs. There's a lot of entries from students, not just about their student placements, but also about their life in London, how London compares to their own countries, and just lots and lots of testimonies and really interesting stuff, like, for example, what to pack to London when you come to London, what not to take with you. So just like interesting tips for our students, and experiences of our students can be found on these pages. So we do recognize a lot of our students are international, and they will go on to having international careers. So there's a lot of global opportunities that we offer to our students. For example, study abroad. A lot of our degrees will offer students an opportunity to spend a semester or a year abroad. We also offer a summer abroad option if that's not the case. So that's where students can travel and experience education in yet another country than UK. Global internships, where students get to work during the summer in an international organization. And in the past, students have gone to a number of European countries. They have gone to Asia, Hong Kong, China, for example, and have also gone to USA. And the last one, learn a language. We have a modern language center, which offer over 26 different languages. Again, with some degrees, students can do that as part of their degree. Business management, for example, very popular in Turkey. Students can pick modules from the Modern Language Center. But if that's not an option, students still can learn a language alongside their main degree. Now, why they might want to take advantage from our global opportunities is, of course, to enhance their career options, to broaden their social circle and experience new things and learn about new cultures, and learn about the world. And when it comes to study abroad, I just wanted to show you examples of where students can go. We've got partnerships with universities just pretty much anywhere you can think of. So whether that might be a language ability that your child or yourself have, might be maybe you're interested in a culture of a particular country, or maybe your degree is connected to one of those countries. There is lots and lots on offer. So I would always recommend to explore that. Other opportunities that our students have is, of course, making the most of being at King's, so joining societies. There's part-time work at King's and joining different academic opportunities, because that will give you an experience and that will teach you skills that you can use later on in interviews. And those are transferable skills that any organization will look for example, time management, leadership, or, for example, conflict resolution. And of course, there are opportunities to volunteer. King's really strongly takes into heart making the world a better place. So for example, we have a King Sierra Leone partnership that works to improve healthcare in Sierra Leone. So some of our medicine and global health and social medicine students travel to Sierra Leone to support that. We have a King Sanctuary program, which focuses on global issue of forced displacement. And some of our students, for example, dental students, as you can see on the bottom picture, travel to places like Bangladesh or, for example, Lebanon, and they offer free dental health care for refugee children. And a lot closer home, we've got Hot Chocolate Society, and that focuses on the problem of homelessness in London. And some of their actions include food distribution and outreach sessions. So the last section of my presentation is how to apply. I'm sure all of you are aware of UCAS, but I'm just going to quickly touch on that. It's a central application body. All of the applications for UK universities come to UCAS, and then you indicate to UCAS which universities you want to apply to, and UCAS sends the application on your behalf. Some dates to bear in mind: September, it's when the application opens. 15th of October, if you're applying for dentistry, medicine, or veterinary studies, this is your deadline. From November, we start to send out offers. Now, this is really important because you have to bear in mind we don't wait until the end of process to send offers. We send offers as the application comes. So if you're applying for the top most competitive programs, the longer you wait, the more competitive the program becomes because the less spaces we have. So I always recommend to apply earlier for the most competitive degrees. December, we continue sending out offers. 15th of January, very important date for most of you because this is the deadline for almost all of our programs. February, it's a good idea to have a look at funding. We don't have many scholarships, but we have some. So it's a good time to have a look if there's anything available for you. 3rd of May, this is the deadline for us to respond. So if you apply for King's, this is the absolute latest you will hear from us. 7th of June, it's the latest we need to hear from you. So if you hold an offer from King's, this is the deadline by which you have to let us know if you would like to come and join us. And June is also a deadline for accommodation. So we do offer guaranteed accommodation for the first year, but you need to make sure you apply before the deadline. What we look for, it's entry requirements. Now, we need exactly what we ask for. So, for example, with IBs, if we ask for 7, 6, and 6, and you have 7, 7, and 5, it doesn't necessarily balance out. So always make sure you have what we ask for. And also always check subject requirements for all the universities you apply for, because the same degrees at different universities might have different subject requirements. So, for example, engineering at King's might only need maths, but engineering at UCL would need maths and physics. So don't check one university, always check every university you apply for. Proven academic records. We do ask, for example, for GCSEs sometimes. For students who haven't studied GCSEs and studied IB, sometimes we ask for standard level equivalent of the GCSE, and most of the students will be exempt from that if they haven't studied that. We will need a teacher's reference as well. Now, if there are any mitigating circumstances, so if yourself or your child, you haven't done as well as expected, don't talk about it in your personal statements. It's for your teacher to explain any mitigating circumstances in your teacher reference. For some of our degrees, we will need some other tests. So law will need an LNAT and medicine will need UK CAT. Again, this could differ depending on a university. So always check with every university you apply for. And in terms of interviews, we offer interviews for medicine and anything that is medically related. We don't offer interviews for anything else. So if your degree is not medicine and it's not medically related, that we will assess that on the basis of your application. There won't be any interviews. For medically related degrees, we also need clinical work experience. For anything that is not medically related, there's no need for work experience. And of course, the last one, personal statement. Very important to remember. You can apply for up to 5 different universities, but you only write one personal statement. So that one personal statement is sent to all 5 of your choices. So it's really important that when you make your choices, you pick the university or you pick the degrees that are within the same area of studies. So for example, if you're applying for politics and international relations, it's quite easy to write the personal statements and focus on the common elements between those degrees and make it relevant to both. But if you're applying for like business management and medicine, for example, it will be very difficult to write personal statements that will be relevant to both of those degrees. So when you're choosing, make your 5 choices, think wisely and think of what those degrees you're applying for have in common that you can focus on in your personal statement. What do we look for in the personal statements? 4,000 characters or 47 lines. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not. It's about 1 A4 page. So make sure you use your space wisely. So for example, if you make double spacing between your paragraphs, that counts as lines. So make sure you use the space that you have at maximum. For a university like King's, and that's very different than USA, generally for UK universities, we mainly look at academics. So the extracurriculum activities are a lot less important than the academics. So 75 to 90% of your content should be academically related. So an extra book reading that you've done, and a podcast you might listen to, you might have gone to a guest lecture at the local university, you might have gone to, I don't know, like a exhibition, anything that's academically related, that should take about 75% of your personal statements. Now, we still want to know what makes you you. So if you've done any voluntary work and community work, if you have achievements in sports and music, you can still talk about that. We still want to know, but you have the 10 to 15% of your 10 to 25% of your personal statement for that. What we need to know is your enthusiasm and your motivation. So why are you applying for this particular degree and what excites you about it? If you have an idea of what you want to do after, you can mention that in your personal statement, but if you don't know, then that's absolutely fine as well. We will need few key skills and competencies. Now, don't give us a long list of everything you've done. Think of things that are the most relevant and the most impressive, and talk to us about few things in more details rather than giving us few details about a lot of things. And of course, any work-related experience or placements you have done, you should talk about that in your personal statements if you've done anything as well. When I talked about how important it is to apply earlier, just to give you a few statistics and numbers, and we offer over 150 different undergraduate programs. And for that 150 programs, in 2019, last year, we received 52,000 applications. Now, what's interesting is out of those 52,000 applications, half of them, it's only for the 14 most popular programs we have. So that's just to give you an examples of how competitive some of our programs are. And the top 3 most competitive program, it's business management, law, and medicine. So accommodation, we have 2 different options for our students. We've got King's residences, which are for King's students only, and University of London halls, which are shared between University of London institutions. So students can have a neighbor from UCL or LSE, for example. The prices are between £150 to £410 per week, depending on the location as well as facilities. This is where our campuses are based in relation. So that's where our accommodation is based in relation to our campuses. So you can see the 3 red dots. This is the Strand campus and the business school. Right opposite, you've got Waterloo campus, St. Thomas and Guy's campuses on both sides of Waterloo. This is the medical campuses. And Denmark Hill, this is the Institute of Psychology, Psychiatry, and Neuroscience. Now, all of the blue dots south of the river, and Urbanest and Angel Lane, the 2 lonely blue dots on north of the river, this is all King's residences. So this is for King's students only. And the cluster of blue dots just north of Strand campus, these are the University of London halls. And just the last thing I want to mention, Unibody, it's a fantastic platform for you to connect with current students. I already mentioned the Turkish International Management Students Gökçe, who is part of that. So if you go to our website, you can search, you can have a look, you can find students that come from the country you come from, or you can find students that study the subjects you want to study, and it's like a chat room, so you can ask them any questions you have about coming to London, settling in London, the degree, anything you want. It's a fantastic resource for you to use. Some of our academics and of course international team are also part of that, so you can contact me on Unibody, and you can also, if you're lucky, you can find an academic who's part of the department you want to find yourself in. Okay, so that's all from me. Now, if you have any questions, I see there's
Paulina.
Hi.
Hi. There are a few questions in the chat box.
Yes, I'm just looking. So shall I just read out the question and give the answer? Would that work?
Can you please again specify the entry requirements for students? You already mentioned IBs and A levels. What about APs and SATs, and also regular Turkish high school diploma requirements?
Okay, so for the regular high school diploma requirements, students have to go through foundation year. So unfortunately, we don't accept the regular Turkish diploma for the direct entry. I'm just going to quickly check the entry requirement for the foundation. And then for IB, we need, depending on the degree, it's 7, 6, and 6 to 6, 5, and 5. And for APs and SATs, it's a little bit more complicated because students can have 3 APs and then the SAT, 3 subject tests and SAT, or 5 APs. So there are different combinations that students can have. And again, depending on the degree, there will be different entry requirements. They all published on the page, so I would recommend having a look at the page for the specific degrees. Because with the APs and the SATs, this is kind of a long answer here. Would that be enough information out there?
Yes. So you mentioned if the student has regular Turkish high school diploma, he or she has to have some additional documents like APs and SAT scores.
Yes, so with the regular Turkish diploma, students, I'm just having a very quick look at the entry requirements. Okay, so with the high school diploma from Turkey, students can start from our foundation year. So students can study for a year for our foundation year and then move on to the degree of their choice. Now, the good thing about foundation is where if students join our foundation, they automatically get a conditional offer for the degree of their choice. So they already have a space at King's. They just have to pass our foundation to move on to our degree. So that's a good news. They don't have to reapply. Or alternatively, they could take APs and SATs. And if students have APs and SATs, they can enter King's directly. Again, with the SATs and APs, there is a different combinations they can have. So they can have 5 APs, they can have 3 APs and the SAT, they can have 3 SATs and SAT, or they can have for example, 2 SATs and an AP and SAT, or 2 APs and 1 SAT and SAT. So there are different combinations. So if they take SAT, they have to have 3 of APs and SATs, or 5 APs if they only take 8 APs. Does that make sense?
Yes, but they can check through the website,
yes.
Or they can ask us anytime they want. There is another interesting question. Is it possible to change the majors? I think she is meaning after application.
No, that's fine. So it's very difficult in UK to change your majors. We do, when it comes to like biomedical sciences, we do something that is called Common Year 1. So for those students that join those biomedical and medical sciences, the year one is the same. So it's quite easy to switch in between, like for example, biomedical sciences and biochemistry. It's quite easy to switch. Within other degrees, and that's not just for King's, that's generally for UK, it's quite difficult to switch between the degrees. So it is quite important that students choose the degree that they're interested in, and they do a lot of research and a lot of thinking. Because generally speaking, I wouldn't say impossible, but close to impossible to change once you start studying, to change into a different degree. Typically, you would have to start from a year one. It's unlikely to be able to switch between degrees after you start your studies.
Yeah, there is also another question. Not one. There are many questions regarding to scholarships.
Okay, so unfortunately, King's is not big on scholarships. We have some scholarships, not too many. Some of them are related to the degree. So we've got scholarship for geography, for example. We've got scholarship for global health and social medicine. We have a couple of scholarships that are like merit-based. They do tend to change from a year to year. So what I would recommend to have a look at is fees and funding pages, because all of the scholarships are listed there, so you can see if you or your child is, if you qualify for any of the scholarships we have. If you're applying for next year, you can have a look to get a general idea of what's on offer. But it's a little bit early because they do tend to change from a year to year. Now, when it comes to stuff like business management and law, generally business school, law and medicine, it is unlikely that we will offer any scholarships, just because of how competitive those programs are.
Are IB students considered for foundation years?
They are. So foundation year, it's generally speaking, it's not designed for IB students. So we do consider them on a case-to-case basis. It is on a case-to-case basis. So I can't promise that IB students will get an offer, because it's not generally speaking it's not designed for foundation students. But sometimes our foundation officers do take some IB students.
You mentioned there were 50% of students applied to the most popular courses, 14 courses you mentioned, I guess. Mm-hmm. But you told us only 3 of them, business and medical programs?
Yeah, so the 3 most popular programs are business management, medicine, and law. That's the 3 most popular programs. But anything within business school will always be very popular. So economics, accounting, that's very popular programs. Some of the social sciences programs as well. So especially War Department is very popular. So stuff like international relations, politics, those degrees tend to be very popular. Typically, if you want to assess, and that's a little tip here, if you want to assess how competitive the programs are, have a look at entry requirements. 7, 6, and 6 are our highest entry requirements. So anything with the requirement of 7, 6, and 6 will be the top competitive program. The lower the entry requirements go, the less competitive the programs are. That's the general rule of the thumb. So you'll find most of our business school will be very popular, and then some of the social sciences, politics, mathematics, anything with maths, and those areas are very popular too. That's I'd say those probably the most popular. And of course, dentistry. We only have very limited spaces on the dentistry program, so these are extremely competitive too.
What is the general SAT requirement, minimum general SAT requirement?
If I remember well, it's 1380 from memory, but it is published on the website. I think it's 1380.
And regarding to accommodation, tuition fees do not include accommodation fees.
No, so tuition fees only includes basically tuition fees. The accommodation comes on top. It's anything between 150 and sort of 350 pounds a week, depending on the type of accommodation and location. Generally speaking, when it comes to cost of living in UK, we recommend around £1,300 a month. And that should cover accommodation, transport, food, books, and generally speaking, anything, you know, and anything that students might want. That of course depends on the lifestyle, because if someone takes Ubers everywhere and you know, and they eat out every day, that's going to be significantly higher. But you know, when people ask how much does it cost to live in London, we recommend around £1,300 a month.
There's another question. Is the IB diploma enough to apply for medicine, or in addition to that, student needs another SAT score?
No, so IB is enough. So it's either IB or SAT. So we don't need both. And I know Turkish students like to do everything. Like Turkish students, you know, obviously you have to do the Turkish diploma, but then students do IBs and then some APs, some SATs. But you don't need that. You need one or another. So IB diploma is absolutely enough to apply. And the only thing is, and I come across that with some Turkish schools, you do need both biology and chemistry on your IB diploma. Now, if your school only offers one of those, or your selection only offers one of those, then you might think of, for example, taking a subject test to substitute the subject requirements to have the chemistry and biology as your subject requirement. But other than that, IB diploma is absolutely enough. You would need a UK CAT score. So this is an additional exam for all of the students that are looking to study medicine. And this is probably the most important part of the application, because for international students, we get over 30, I calculated it once, and from memory, I think it's 37 applications per one medicine space for international students. And most